See here. Hi guys. Okay. Spooky University. Topic this week: spoiled children, spoiled parents, spoiled world maybe. What makes spoiled kids? What makes something spoiled? Actually, when we talk about food, for example, we say that you've spoiled the food when it goes rotten, when it's past its due date, when it has been overcooked, when it has been undercooked. In other words, when it's not just right. Now, is that fair actually to make that definition of spoiled? No, it isn't actually. Because as you know, when you eat, take for example meat, I mean, some like it rare, some like it well done. So it's not so simple as that to say that every definition of spoiled is right. Nevertheless, I mean, who has not lived the situation being in a store and seeing a child crying his head off to get something, and you're wondering, well, you know, is the parent going to give in or not? And actually very often the parent does give in. Especially in situations like that. It's the equivalent of peer pressure, isn't it? I mean, everybody's looking. The same parent might not cave in private. Maybe not. What brings this on? I mean, a lot of the times, of course, I mean, it's because a parent is trying to give to the children, sometimes at least, parents trying to give the children what they didn't have. Is that a good thing? Once again, maybe yes, maybe no. It depends on the gravity of what you've gone out of. I mean, one thing though is very often is that when we spoil our children, at least in that respect, I mean, by giving them things, we are, well, I think we're doing it them at times a disfavor. I mean, we're making them lose out on the simplicity of life on the one hand, and on the other hand, I think that we're just not teaching them, you know, to wait. Now, I am probably in that respect a bit at fault as well, because I tend, for example, to be quite overprotective, and by being overprotective means that I might do things that they could do, and that is pampering them, and in a way it is spoiling them, because I mean it's taking away from them, you know, sometimes a chance to develop themselves, and that actually happens a lot of times. I mean, when you're spoiling somebody, you're underdeveloping them, we could put it that way. Can you solve spoiling? Well, I mean, I think you can, but I mean, once you started spoiling, then I have to get back to the cooking recipes and so on. I mean, once you've spoiled a recipe, it's actually pretty hard to get it back at times. I mean, sometimes you just can't save a dish, and sometimes you can. And I think it's the same thing. I mean, if you, with the children, I mean, if it's something that you've started young and kept it on all their life, especially until the teens, it might be pretty difficult to come back on it. But when it's, you know, when it's really done early enough, or you realize, I think that you can get out of it much easier. When is it very difficult? I mean, it can be very difficult, of course, if it's situations where, well, financial means are lost, for example, and the children have gotten used to living at a certain standard. Now that of course makes it really difficult for everybody. But actually, it can maybe even be solitary at times. I mean, it might actually force the children to realize what they had or what they will not have anymore. Yeah. It's a difficult one, because I mean, we all want the best for our children, and at the same time, sometimes when we want the best for them, we're not actually equipping them to make to go face on with life. That brings me a bit on to spoiled parents. Spoiled parents basically are just usually the continuation of spoiled children. It's maybe not quite the subject that Claire was going to talk about, but I mean, look in the workplace. I mean, how often do you have people that work with you that were born with a silver spoon in the mouth, and have never had to work for anything. They've got a job. Sometimes, very often, the job was given to them or whatever. And these people, you know, I always expect that they're going to get what they want, and that can be pretty bad. I mean, you do realize that actually that this person, sometimes I'm just saying hypothetically, this person, I mean persons that you work with at times, you can kind of wonder, my, what they must have been as a kid, you know, because at the workplace is sometimes like a big schoolyard, isn't it? I mean, and you see all the things actually that happens in a schoolyard. People should, you know, can have tantrums. People can play behind the other people's back, but usually it's to get what they want. And sometimes, actually, I wonder if it's not even worse with excuse me, with adults than with children, because very often the children are more out front, and with adults that's less the case. So, spoiled parents. I guess that if you've been a spoiled child all your life, and then I kind of wonder, you know, I mean, especially if you've been the center of attention all your life, when you get children, at least I have known a few people like that, that they've had children, and then you wonder, like, why did these people have children? Because all they do is think about themselves. They put the children non-stop with nannies. They put the children, actually I would say, at the last place in their life. Their career might be first, but basically, when you say their career might be first, it's saying they are taking themselves in the first position. So, yeah, I guess I mean that spoiled parents do exist, but usually spoiled parents have evolved somehow from a spoiled child, or an ultra spoiled child, to a spoiled parent. Is our world making more spoiled children? I would say yes. I would say yes. I mean, spoiled very often basically is me, me, me. And if you're alone, if you're a person who's always alone in, I don't know, with his video game, or with, you know, with today's materialistic world, I mean, where you concentrate very often on yourself, watching out for Mr. One, for number one, then that creates a spoiled generation. And, well, I'm sadly saying, I think that the world's going in a way now that a lot of people are realizing that you can be spoiled, but you can still lose your job. You can be spoiled and you can still lose your home. And all of a sudden, you might have to think about somebody else. But I gotta say, I'm pretty cynical in that respect. I think that if you've been spoiled all your life, I don't think at 40, unless you have I don't know, I would say you know, a real revelation, I don't think that you're going to change all that much. Yeah. Not a very actually enjoyable topic, actually, in the sense is that it kind of brings out the worst in people, doesn't it, being spoiled? And it poisons your life, it poisons a lot of people's life. Okay, that's my little grain of salt for this week's Spooky University. PC signing off.